Okay, now it says I'm live. As usual, looks like there's a 15-second delay, so you probably all just saw me sit there for 15 seconds. Don't know why this shit is so behind. And YouTube says, now would be a good time to insert ads. Yeah, right when it starts. Perfect. Have Kino read a story again? Well, yeah. He is known to talk endlessly without anybody else being able to speak. But we are here again for the Chamber of Depression, and I'm here with Flowey the Flower, Cole Williams, Bicep Supreme, Mr. Punk 327, Dell, Yapal Pauly, Joseph Liam, Mr. Coffee, Darcy Walker, and if I read your name twice, just keep in mind I'm not paying attention. Bionicle Forever, Morbius himself. Okay, Morbius is a mod. Anybody other than Bacon Crafted Curtain can be a mod. No, I didn't click on the ad button. If you saw an ad, that was on YouTube. That was Susan, not me. John Drusbick, hey, the greatest filmmaker in this chat is here to say hello. It's Halloween, so rename to Simian Jimmy's Treehouse of Horror. Not a bad idea. Dream face reveal time. If you care about what Dream's face looks like, you are too young to be watching my channel. So, go watch that. Hey, everybody else. We got some stories to read. Believe it or not, we, when I don't do this for 3 months, some stories do stack up a little bit. Mumkey convinced me to sub to your Patreon. I've got a lot of videos coming out in October. That's pretty good. You get access to my book, The Triflers, on there. I think the ebook is on there. You can join the Patreon Discord, and there's always lots of fun drama in there. That's how I sell you this pen. That's my best offer. Once I learned you worked at Culver's, I worked there too, and I want to hear your opinion. It was the first job I ever had. I actually had the job interview on my 16th birthday, so I was not wasting any time to go make some money. At that time, I got paid $8 an hour, and I worked there for about a year. It was fine. I liked eating the food, 50% off, the food. But anyway, we have a few choices for story number 1, so I'm going to do a poll. Which story should we start with? I'll give you 3 options. We've got one called How I Became an Accused Rapist in High School. So we'll call that one Accused. We've got Winning $600,000 from being molested in high school. Are these stories connected? 2 people on either side of a molestation had to write in to give their side of the story. I guess that'll be called 600K molested. And let's see what else. There's so many good ones in here. You guys finally caught on that the way to get read is to have a funny subject in your email. Ooh. Dad shot himself in front of me when I was 3, and now I have a brain tumor. Okay. Brain tumor. Dad suicide. I shouldn't be laughing, but just the fact that these are the options in a poll is kind of funny. Let's go. Let's see who wins. And we certainly could read all 3, but I want to see what the people want. Oh wow, immediately the suicide dad takes the lead with 52%. After so many people were begging to see these high school molestation stories. Wasn't the 600K one already on here? Well, the email was sent on August 19th, and I have not done the story, the Depression Chamber stories, in that time. So maybe he sent it twice, but I don't think so. Dad story. Now the dad suicide is now in last place, but everything's pretty much tied with the accused, or I was gonna say accusation one, ahead by literally. Now it's tied. Accused of being a rapist and getting molested are both tied at 34%, with brain tumor dad at 32%. This is too close, and I think... Okay, 35% accused barely edges it out, so we will start there. I have to assume the music sounds okay, because nobody has complained about it being too loud, but then again, maybe it's just so quiet nobody can hear it. People are still shouting out a Mackenzie Crawford, so, you know, good job to that short film, making her famous. Okay, let's do it! Story number 1 of the night, no more wasting time with me, my bullshit. How I became sometimes it's rough reading these out loud while on camera. People are gonna think this is me speaking, but how I became an accused rapist in high school. Story by somebody who's not me. Volume needs to be tripled. It's slightly loud, but it's good. Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit. We all know I'm the star of the show. We don't need this damn music ruining everything. Don't let Heartsy read. Okay, here's the story. Hey, Mumkey. When I was in my freshman year of high school, I went through a breakup, and as a result, I started dating some black chick as a rebound. I'll call her Floydina. Okay. I didn't realize she was a rebound for me at the time. I was just confused and desperate for companionship. Floydina was a sophomore at the time and was an exceptionally horny motherfucker. Her parents were hard asses and she wasn't allowed to see any boy outside of school, so that was the only place we ever saw each other. The first sexual experience I ever had was her sucking my cock behind a box in the school courtyard. Okay. After that, she insisted on us going to school restrooms for meetups. Gross, I know. Eventually, she got to the point where she wanted me to actually fuck her. I showed up, stuck it in, and then the dumb fuck started panicking at the sight of her own blood and started sobbing. So, I stopped. Okay. Consoled her the best I could, and then we got out of there. Blue-balled. Fast forward a few days later, I haven't heard from her since. It's a Sunday night around 10 p.m. and I'm on my computer playing a video game. Dusk is the shit if you haven't played it. It's the night before my birthday. I hear a knock at the door, but my dad is in the living room, so I let him get it. A minute later, my dad comes to my door. Do you know a Floydina? Did you have sex with a girl named Floydina? Her parents are on our porch. Did you fuck their daughter? That's all in caps, by the way. I stared at him like a deer in the headlights and eventually told him yes. I walked over to the door and of fucking course her dad is 6 foot. I'm sorry I can't remember too much from what followed. It's truly a shame to deprive you of this cringe gold mine, but here's all I've got. Her dad is pissed, close to the point of punching me in the face. My dad and my granddad are both on the porch with me, dead silent. Her dad asked me a string of questions about what we'd done, what was wrong with me, if I'd used protection. I hadn't. Then he started asking questions about me, where I wanted to go to college, what job I wanted, what I wanted to major in. Fun fact, I had no idea what I wanted to major in at the time, so I just said English major because of Mumkey. I'm glad I was on your mind during this tumultuous time. Her mom had a Friends shirt, I remember that. Finally, once he'd said his piece, he says they're getting her a pregnancy test and will be contacting the school. Sounds like he didn't even nut, so I don't know what they need to test for. Then they drive off. Afterwards, my parents have their own interrogation, and my dad forces me to let him read through text messages. Oh, that's fucked. That's the worst thing they could do. Which was easily the worst part of the ordeal. Yeah, I agree. The last thing you want in your life is your parents to read through your horny text messages. I can't imagine a worse fate. Just throw me in prison. I'd rather be in solitary confinement. Two funny things to note before proceeding. One, I did some digging on Floydina's dad after this confrontation and found a news story about him shooting a 17-year-old in the face in self-defense. Uh-oh. Because he was trying to rob him. And two, I later realized that I had never actually given Floydina my address. The first day back at school was tense. Floydina's parents had taken her out of school, but I kept waiting to be called in and told I would be suspended/expelled for fucking in school. I guess Floydina's parents didn't want to tell the school their daughter was a whore, though, because I never got called in. My relief at this realization was short-lived, however, as something almost worse happened after that. Floydina apparently told all her friends that I had raped her in the bathroom, and they started spreading it around school like the plague. I legitimately just assumed my life was over when I learned of this. I thought about killing myself that night, not out of grief or anger or anything, but just so that I wouldn't have to deal with that shit. But a miracle happened. I apologize for sharing a Depression Chamber story with a happy ending, but here we are. After I denied it, not a single person in my entire school who wasn't a direct friend of Floydina believed her. Not only did literally everyone believe me unquestioningly, but I even had people left and right telling me how sorry they felt for me and how much of a bitch Floydina was for doing this to me. It was incredible. You hear all these stories of people having their lives ruined by this shit and women getting off scot-free. But nope. I even got back with the girl that I was on a rebound from in the first place. Everything went comedically well. My parents were adamant about putting me in a military academy the next year because they believed me to be a sociopath, but after extensive testing, I came back with a clean bill of health and they conceded. Your own parents made you take extensive sociopath tests. Okay. Thanks for reading my story. Sorry if it wasn't depressing enough, but at the very least, I hope it was more entertaining than the typical. And then my friend said this, and then I didn't like that, and I said, go bodies, and my friends laughed. Story. P.S. When is the brilliant Diamond Nuzlocke coming out? Oh, I wish I knew. It sounds like there's a new Pokemon game coming out soon anyway, so maybe I should just wait for that one at this point. Yeah, that's the end of that story. You know what? That is a happy ending for this show. Oh my god, Boogie1488 died? Oh my goodness. Rest in peace. I can't believe it. Boogie croaked. We could have read the dad suicide story. Oh, we can just read that next if that's what Peter wants. Hey, Mako Horror Show's in the chat. I see that she submitted a story, but now that I've outed it as being her, maybe I shouldn't read it. I don't know. I'll wait for her to confirm or deny whether or not we should read that one. Floydina takes your breath away? Yeah, she almost took his rights away. Uh-oh, Kino Corner's here. Uh-oh. Oh, Lil Tater says, thanks for reading. I guess he outed himself. Hey, I'm glad you're not a rapist. Thank you for the $2. Rip Buggy. Rip Boog. Yes, Kino is in the chat. I suppose that's the real one. Maybe I should mod him. But just in case it's not. Any of you could just make a fake Kino Corner account and then what, I'm gonna mod some random guy? I've never done that before. How much do I have to donate to get mod? More than you make. Okay, Mako says we can read hers. Okay. Fine story. Let's move on to the dad one. And I don't want to dox anybody. I'm not going to say who sent it, but it very well might have been somebody whose short film we watched yesterday. You know, maybe he'll out himself. But this story is called Dad Shot Himself in Front of Me When I Was 3 and Now I Have a Brain Tumor. Felicitations, Mr. Jimmy. I am writing to you today upon a toilet where I am shitting. This is in direct correspondence to your invitation to write for the Depression Chamber show on your channel. I have experienced many a trauma throughout my life, and people always leave when I tell them about it. Maybe not due to the contents of the stories, but because I am retarded, and people do not wish to speak to me. Anyways, my name is Leg. I am 21, born in 2000. I'm a first-generation Filipino, second-generation German halfling. Let's start a little before my time, back in the wonderful year of 1931. A baby was born in the middle of California. He was blonde with blue hair and was not given a name. This man would become my father. Okay, I like this story so far. I like that we have deep lore that goes back generations. Baby boy, is this like fucking a copy pasta? Who writes like this? Baby boy as it was printed on his birth certificate, and his early life is unknown by me. But I know that after growing up, he would marry and father a child born in 1960, which will be important later. After this time, he joined the Marine Corps and served around the time after the Vietnam War in the late 70s. This is when he met my mother. My mother was born in the Philippine Islands. Her name was Robel. No, I'm kidding. On the Zamboangan Peninsula. Yeah, Robel's gonna have to red pill me on that one. She was born in 1961. My father was already 30 by the time my mother was born. Yeah, I mean, if you want somebody who was a newborn baby when you were 30, I guess you go to the Philippines for that shit. My grandmother was abusive to my mother when she was a child. I'm not too sure how or to what degree, but my grandmother lived with us in California for around 18 years now, so surely it wasn't too bad. My mother grew up on a farm where she would walk to school and use banana leaves to shelter herself from the rain. I recall that she once took eggs from under the chickens her family had and traded them for candy. This would ultimately end in her contracting diabetes due to her sweet tooth and the fact that the United States has refined sugars in the chocolates she binged on when she first came here. My mother and father were pen pals. I'm not quite sure what they wrote about to each other. I'm sure that those old letters are stored in our attic that I've never been in. That resulted in their marriage sometime soon after. My father had divorced his previous wife in preceding years. My mother graduated from college with a bachelor in business and moved to the US in 1981. This is actually 100 years after my father's family moved to the States. Skip past a couple of years and my sister was born in 1995. We'll call her Tim. Okay. I had fought with Tim since we were young, and it got rather violent nearing the end of the last decade. We are cool now, she's moved out, and we keep in touch once in a while. My father had some mental problems leading up to the end. He would have depressive episodes and violent outbursts. He had been diagnosed with dementia too, I heard. He was in his late 70s at this time. I was born about a week before Halloween 2000. My sister said I looked Japanese. I don't know how I'm supposed to interpret that, but I guess she meant I was really chinky, which I still am. Hey, he said it, not me. He has the right. He can say that shit. Very brave of Weekend Warrior for sharing his life story. Uh-oh. Doxed again. The next couple of years is a blur for me, mainly because I was a baby. Okay. And probably because my brain shot off some of the more heinous memories. The only things I remember of my father are that I hurt myself one time and he comforted me. He drove us upstate and we played in snow. And he made me scrambled eggs. And the last part. My parents were arguing. It was March 2004. I was 3 years old. I was sitting outside on the bench with my mother. All I remember was that the was getting up and sitting down repeatedly from bench to bench while my dad held a gun towards my mom. I didn't really understand what was happening at that time. My direct next memory is standing out on the street corner while police were outside our house. What happened during the time that I don't remember was that my father shouted, "Is this what you want, mother's name?" and pulled the gun against his head and shot himself. His blood and brains splattered onto the white walls outside of the house. My mother ran away screaming and crying and called the police. I was left there and my grandmother ran over and shielded me from the sight. My sister heard the commotion but was too scared to come near. Police came and then that was the end. We lived in an other house for a year while the old house was renovated. Apparently, we had counseling during that time, but 2004 to 2005 is a blank for me until our family went to the Philippines for 3 months that year. I started kindergarten, and I was a bit of a troublemaker. I didn't make any friends, and I would taunt this autistic kid that was a year older than me. I once popped a water balloon that he was holding, getting him wet. I was placed under the stereotypical gifted but lazy category. My mother was a lunch lady at the school I went to for kindergarten. Next year, my mother remarried, and that man became my father. I love the guy. He's dogmatic and loud, but I love him as he was my own father. The next span of years was my elementary school years. I made some friends that tolerated me, and I was still the kid that got into trouble but still had decent enough grades. I placed in the more advanced groups but was never told that I was one of the good ones. I got suspended every year in elementary school. I wouldn't do homework too often, so I was given detention, which I would skip. I was once suspended for something I didn't do once, though. In the 4th grade, a girl that I only knew in name accused me of rubbing her chest with my arm, which was false. My parents believed me, but still punished me anyway. I had shown signs of depression since I was young. Most of my negative memories that I have are ones that feel minor. Like when my sister would torment me, like when she broke my DS and when she broke some games, and when she deleted the save on my Pokemon Heart Gold that had my Palkia on it, which was the first Pokemon that I had raised to level 100. The times where she would hit me or trap me in blankets, which I couldn't escape from. My stepdad also contributed to this in some regards. He would be strict and punish me often. I was hit with a belt or slapped. One time when I was in the shower when I was really little, he hit me with a camera. I don't really know the context behind the circumstance, but it sounds bad when I say it out loud, even though the situation wasn't what it would imply. I was called lazy all my life during this time. Truly, I probably was. But I would like to believe that I was just dealing with subconscious trauma and unable to get through everything that was thrown at me. When I was 10 and in the 6th grade, I started having to urinate more often. I feel you on that one. We're probably gonna have a bathroom break during this stream. My school had this stupid economy system in which we had to use school money to do certain things, such as using the bathroom. The fuck? Using the bathroom costs $25! What are you, me when I'm playing the Roller Coaster Tycoon games? When we were given $100 or so each week, I would use the bathroom 30 times in one day at the worst, 14 at the best. During the school day, I would have to use it about 10 times. I had to be tactical in how I spent my money. I even bummed some money off friends or even go into debt with the teachers. I was given detention a bunch of times for this reason, which I skipped. This is fucking barbaric. Literal good boy points. What the fuck is going on? This was such a problem that I went to the doctors and they sent me a couple of towns over to another clinic that specializes in pediatrics. I visited a pediatric neurosurgeon which ordered an MRI. We found the culprit for this conundrum, a small growth on the stalk of my pituitary gland in my brain. Hey, maybe that's what I have. Okay, so what next? Hell. Spoiler alert, it wasn't cancer, but we didn't know that at the time. Also, fun fact, I'm what medical practitioners would call a hard stick. Normal people usually get a needle stuck in their arm, have their blood drawn, and get on with their lives. I would get a needle in my arm and have a lab worker look frustrated, wiggle the needle around, which was very painful, look defeated, repeat 2 or 3 more times, and me off to the older technician for them to do the same song and dance and work up the chain of command until somebody won the lottery. This is not an exaggeration. I've had gone hours being stabbed over and over again just for them to say, wait a sec, and leave me alone for 20 minutes with my arm covered in holes like a junkie. This also happened during a spinal tap, which thankfully I was knocked out for. As the tests concluded, it wasn't cancer. This was a story years in the making, so I'm skipping the parts where I threatened to kill everyone at my school and got sent to a mental hospital in 2012. So when you were 12? I was going through therapy and got some SSRIs to make that part short. I was diagnosed with central diabetes insipidus, not to be confused with diabetes mellitus, which I look like I have because I'm fat. Central DI is when brain don't work, so you piss a lot and can't hold water. I got meds for that, so I don't piss as much. As a side effect, I can chug water really fucking fast. Middle school was good, so I'm going to skip that. I'll only say that I made good friends that I don't talk to anymore and was top of my class. It was a small school with only 80 students, that's why. High school was not good. I got an ear infection that fucked me up during the first semester. I had a crush on a girl that ended in me attempting suicide and being admitted to mental institutions twice. Side note, I don't know why, but the girls were really into me while I was there. Kinda fucked up when I think back on it. The rest of high school was me going to an independent school where I would only show up to class once a week, and then graduating. This was 2018. The previous year I found a little channel called Monkey Jones. Shame that his channel was deleted. I do hope he is doing well. 2018 to 2019 was basically a huge joke. I was accepted into this program that took weird brown and poor kids and told them they would get free college and shit. Man, was it fun. This program was backed by a bunch of old white men and was run by a Mr. Dino Cortopassi, rip in peace. That program went through some changes and like 20 people and I were tricked into going through the program during a transitional period. The program had us go to a local university and get jobs at the same time. The jobs were from the companies that backed the program, and the university was also part of that clique. We were to take on 9 months of classes and internships while also attending seminars and inspirational speakers and engaging workshops. Man, was it a shit show. The college classes that we were supposed to get were actual college classes that gave credits and eventually certification in a chosen field. What we got was some cobbled together last-minute classes that wasted 8 hours a day, went over high school level subjects, and have no credits. The internships were limited, and the companies that we were told would give us an internship were unprepared. I got an internship with the VA company that worked with the hotel where the seminars were held. I received poor training, and it was my first job. I was fired after 2 months. I didn't get another internship for the duration of the program. 2019 was a bit of a tipping point for me. I went to a local coding boot camp in which I sustained a back injury and had to drop out. I was devastated. I thought that I could have made it as a coder, but all that came crumbling down. I haven't been in school since. I've been doing DoorDash as my only job since January 2020. I call it a job, but I don't make nearly enough money, nor do it enough for it to be considered a real job in my eyes. I don't have enough energy to be running around the city all day long, but I can't handle a job that I can't just pick up and do whenever I want. That routine job shit would surely end in my death, so I do what I can. I don't make a lot of money, and I'm applying for disability. Endocrine conditions are considered for approval for disability by the Social Security Administration, so I'll bide my time. I'm applying for jobs that are more like volunteer positions that pay. I want to write a sci-fi fantasy novel. I want to thank you for reading this, if you did indeed read it. I'm sorry that I started to ramble at the end. Sorry about the length, too. And I guess he wants me to read this part. I'm gonna read it because it looks like he wants me to. Anyways, if you are a cute femboy, trans woman, tomboy, or cis woman near the Central California area, please reach out to toolassistedfunposting@gmail.com, or alternatively DM me at toolassistedfun on twitter.com. I am 6 foot and fat. I am uncircumcised. Thank you. Blessings of the Lord upon you. I'm an atheist, by the way. Heh heh, tips hat. Smirks while stroking chin. Nothing personnel. Kid. Credits in order of appearance. Nobody. This guy literally became a patron of me today. So if you want to talk to this guy, he's also in my Discord now. Yes, it was the guy who submitted the 5-second short film of his naked body in his face, just saying that his name was Richard Kelly. Martyr Loser King says, my daughter is a race traitor. F's in the chat. Okay, well, yeah, let's get some F's in there. Mako Horror Show says, uncircumcised, eh? You read the rest of that story, and that's the part that sticks out to you? That his penis wasn't mutilated? Yeah, 6-second video guy. Now we know his backstory. I wouldn't advise talking to any Simian Jimmy fan. I agree, Rad. Did he submit that in July or 4 days ago? The story was submitted in June. Okay. Well, I don't know if we have any thoughts on this story or if I should just do a poll for the next one. Foreskins for the win. Really adds to the short film. It really does. I think we should put it in the top 10 now that we actually know the story behind it. We need redemption arc? He doesn't need redemption. He didn't do anything wrong, I don't think. Who hasn't threatened to kill everybody at school and got sent to a mental institution? Who among us? I implore you to make yourself known. There's no such person here. Yeah, it's time for a poll. Well, Mako, her story is called Femcel Loses Her Mind. So, that'll be option 1. Femcel story. The 600K molestation story. And let's find one more option. I need something funny for this one. Insane fucked up family? Sure, that's fine. Something called Insane Fucked Up Family. If this guy actually made 600K, patreon.com/Mumkey to read this story. I know you can afford it. I told my 6th grade class I was just going to beat them up and I ended up going to a different school. What is a 600K molest? Well, we're not about to find out because Femcel story is winning by 4%. Femcel stories at 41%, 600K molest 33%, insane fucked up family dead last 26%. Bechdel test. Floydian. Actual woman femcel. I highly doubt that Mako is a femcel. She's like fucking 30 years old. There's no way. Yeah, Kino Corner knows what's up. Okay, Kino. Let's see, let's add Kino as a moderator, see how many people get banned immediately. Okay, Mako, you win! We also read one of her stories during the Christmas Depression Chamber on the main channel, so maybe this will be a sequel. How do I submit an entry? It's in the description of this live stream. You just send them to TheDepressionChamber@gmail.com. Mako is 26. So, you know how there's like dog years and cat years? In women years, you're 30, okay? Let's not pretend. Anyway, Mako's new story, titled, I Can't Save Them. Hello, Mumkey. It's been quite some time since I sent you my first story that you read on Christmas. This one is less about the tragedies in my life and more about my inability to heal from them. As I wrote in my previous story, I have autism and attempted suicide at 13 because I truly believed I was unsalvageable. To remind you, I overcame my illness and managed to thrive in ways that I never thought were possible. The issue is that my achievements only do so much to calm the post-traumatic stress that my childhood has left behind. The one thing that has given my heart peace is the work that I've done involving autism awareness. The Girl Scout project I did in high school, for example. The thing is, that project never captured the true weight of my experience. I feel an incredible drive to take this pain and use it to protect people from the fate I almost came to. However, I know that it will be nearly impossible to achieve this because I want to shed light on things this world cannot handle. I was so struck when I read The Triflers, that's my book, at the start of 2021 because it captured my own PTSD so strongly. As I read it, my heart continued to say, this is why I care so much. This is why I do the work that I do, because I never want someone to suffer to the point of taking their life or anyone else with them. When I made my watch listed video on the book, we agreed that the Triflers will never be recognized outside of our fringe internet circle. It's just too authentic. How do I advocate for the unfixable, for the people our culture can only demonize? How do I spread awareness when the subject matter alone will be the death of me? I can feel knowledge burning inside me that I am desperate to share. I have not only researched, but seen so much in my life. I cannot help but want to risk my reputation if it means I could bring the change I want to see. They say the only way to heal from trauma is to create meaning out of it and do something good. I may never experience this because it would mean acknowledging truths that our world isn't capable of understanding. Aggie is someone I connect with so much because his life is very similar to my own. I remember the Oregon incident when he was falsely labeled as the shooter. That was actually the anniversary of that, I believe, was a day or two ago. Aggie posted that screenshot on his YouTube. It pained me to watch how eager the media was to portray him this way. They showed no hesitance in saying that an autistic outcast like him must be guilty. They never asked if their willingness to attack him was part of the problem. It's difficult for me not to feel a bit of survivor's guilt when I think of this. Maybe that's not the best term. It's just that I've been shown so much grace and I wish he could have felt this. I know that what I have in life is the result of my own perseverance, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to yank others out of the pit. We all sit here basking in layers upon layers of irony, so true. Concealing ourselves with monkey masks, freestyles, and FBI agent outfits. Dark comedy being the only vessel by which our identities can be expressed. Deep within, we know there is sincerity we can never admit to. LARPing as an FBI agent on the internet gives me some relief, but it isn't enough to repair the scarred woman that I am. Especially now after I just lost my relationship with the man that was going to be my husband. I'd rather not elaborate on that out of privacy. I'm going to try to find a way to stop autismo incels from going full Elliot, even if I know I'll probably fail. It's the least I can do for the little girl that is both dead and eternally alive because of the God that spared her. I'd say I've lost it, but after that girl wrote in about fucking herself with a bubble wand, I feel no shame. Sincerely, name that's officially on a watch list. Okay. Aggie just died, rip. He's supposed to be on his way to my house. Kino Corner says he's banning anyone who replies to him. Lincoln donated $2.79 Canadian to say, I love you, Tyler. I don't know, Lincoln. I saw a comment from you about a month ago that says, oh, I haven't watched this guy in 4 months. But thank you for the donation. I don't forget your fucking comments, people. I know who you are. I need some Sneed Snussy for real. F for Aggie. But him and Boogie were in the same car accident. He fell off his 5G tower. That's rough. Pour one for Aggie. I don't know if I want to pour my tea all over my desk again. So she is single right now? Yeah, I guess if you are an autistic male who is about to shoot up a place unless you get laid, you know, she can at least, you know, save one person. Hit her up. Lil Tater says, you think that's bad? I just lost to level 14 elite barbarians in Clash Royale. Yeah, that's rough. You should submit another story, Lil Tater. The feeling of being too smart to share your knowledge with the world is too relatable. Heartsy, we are all begging you to make your heightism documentary. And I feel like you're just, I don't know. Are you too nervous to do it? I don't know what's going on. Like, obviously some people will laugh at you, but the rest of us will take it seriously and watch it. So, you know, don't be afraid of what a couple bullies on the internet are gonna say. Rip Eggy and Wings. Femcells don't exist, stolen valor. Mako says that she's the one who wrote this. You have no idea how much I wish I could help people. Well, there's gotta be ways, right? I don't know. Does anybody have any thoughts on how somebody who wants to help those with particular needs can go about that? In the meantime, we need to find a new story. Maybe we should just stop voting and I'll finally read the 600k story. Yeah, it's not too long. Hog Rider, the One Piece is real! That's right! Can we get higher? Or whatever the fuck that song is, I don't know. I don't really keep up with the One Piece meme. Randy says he laughs at bullies. That's right, Randy. Okay. This story is called Winning $600,000 from Being Molested in High School and Still Struggling with Alcoholism/Nihilism. Hi Mumkey, first I would like to say that I've been watching your content since 2017 and you're my favorite YouTuber who I would listen to during the toughest times in my life, and I relate to a lot of your problems. Nevertheless, I have a rather unique story to tell you. It all started back in 2016 when I was right about to graduate high school. I worked at a wage-cuck grocery store job and was currently enrolled in 4 college courses. Life was still simple and I never questioned my meaningless existence. That was until the day I saw my old wrestling coach's mugshot on one of my Facebook friends' timelines and I was speechless. I discovered that he molested 27 boys on his team, which I tried out for during my sophomore year of high school. He would do involuntary skin checks on them, sensually massage them, and make them take mandatory showers while he watched. This was when I was 15 and my parents made me do a sport, and I only tried out wrestling because I knew the coach, having him in graphic design the year prior. The other boys and I thought nothing of his conduct at the time, thinking that all of his actions were mere procedure, such as the required physicals that we were supposed to undertake, that he conducted. Don't get me wrong, I am not traumatized by this or think of myself as a victim since I was naive to his intentions and only went to the first day of tryouts. But I instantly knew something was wrong. I stormed out of the locker room when he was forcing us all to shower and I never looked back. Little did I know he would follow me on school days in the halls, asking me why I never came back to wrestling. Also, according to my mom, he would call the house at 8 p.m., asking her to force me to join the team. Anyways, I lied about going on to my mom despite telling her I was sore from practice. She ended up finding out a month later and grounding me for not going. Dude, you gotta rub that in your mom's face for the rest of her life. You grounded me for not getting molested! What a fucking dumb bitch! Asking, where are we at? I hate parents so much. They're so fucking stupid. I never would have guessed that this would be the best decision of my life. Or the worst. I alerted my mom that I was, in fact, a part of this civil case against the school district. She immediately panicked and contacted the attorney's office that was in charge of the case. I became one of the coach's statistics in a slam dunk case that would leave all of the boys with over $500,000 or more. During the 2 years before the case eventually ended, I had a life, I had a job, I had friends, but most importantly, I had alcohol. I used my connections from the grocery store that I worked at to convince people to buy liquor for me underage. only forming meaningless relationships with them only to satisfy my addiction. I would worry my mother every day, as she would even check up on me to see if I was still awake in the morning or dead from either alcohol poisoning or suicide. My parents told me that alcohol runs in our genes, and that both sides suffered from chronic alcoholism. I brushed it off during that time, but I was still ignorant to what would become. Maybe I am a sociopath, as I've cheated on multiple girls and would only get drunk and depressing until they would eventually leave me. Even my best relationship that lasted 3 years ended horribly. Asperger horribly. In 2017 and 2018, I knew that the court resolution would fix everything one day. I drank to excess and pushed all of my friends away. I was happy as long as I had a bottle of whiskey, which would eventually be the only source of my happiness. I was a good 160 pounds at 5'11" before I started drinking in 2017, and was rather skinny and attractive. But now I am a steady 220 pounds and my self-esteem is destroyed. I spent most of the beginning of 2018 listening to your podcasts as I would deliver for Postmates, since I felt no need to get a real job and was still accumulating debt. And that is the end of that story. Kino Corner says, very relatable. Everybody is talking as if the alcohol is in their jeans, as in their pants. Okay? And this is real and awful. Sorry to this dude. No, this was a man, Jared. I don't think this was a woman. Why am I reading my own story? I wish I was 5'11". And rich. I mean, the other part's not so much, but... finally an actual bad person? Been too long? What the fuck? Ah, well, yeah, I guess he did say he beat the shit out of some girl. That's probably not good. Oh my god. Somebody named I Scream actually joined the Patreon. I can't believe it. What a hero. Okay, we need to find 5 fresh stories to vote on. Don't look behind me, there's a bunch of guys. Yeah, aren't they handsome? Beautiful men. Patchy's wife, how you doing? Evidently, Patchy and Patchy's wife are gonna go see an pr0n concert in Europe next year. Mumkey is 5'8". Oh, I fucking wish I was 5'8". I'm like 5'2". I wish I was fucking 5'8". That'd be great. Okay. While I read the chat, we'll figure out what we're gonna read next. The Chronicles of My Abuse and Other Stories from a Tranny. Okay. Abused trans. There's one just called Nazism. That's intriguing. Did I get a haircut or something? No, the rest of my face just continued to expand, which is unfortunately very true. There's one called Important Policy Updates Coming to Discord. That might be pretty good. Depression Obsession Revised. Don't read the original or the email name. Okay. Mormon Hellhole, The Skate Dance. Okay, we'll put that one in the vote. Mormon Hellhole. We'll vote on these 3. Let's read Florian's story. Oh, you think the Nazism one was him? I like coming here. Everywhere else I'm bullied for being 5'11", but here I'm a giant. Wow, Nazism takes the lead with 56% of the vote. You know, the people like what they like. They know what they want. Who's the traitor in the Straw Hats? Hopefully Chopper, so they can get him the fuck out of there. Bro, are you actually 5'2"? I'm canonically making you 5'7" because I can't talk to you otherwise. Well, can't Sneed Gaming, I wasn't planning on talking to you anyway. Heartsy's right, this heidism is out of control. I was gonna join the Patreon, but now that I know Mumkey is small, I can't. Yeah, let's make sure all the big chads get all the money. You know, we can't help out a small man in need. Okay, looks like we're going with Nazism. I can't wait. This email, usually I would not read who sent it. But this one is sent by N-word booty, and that N-word is not Nazi, it's a different one. And, well, okay, I'm not surprised. The first sentence in the Nazism story from N-word booty is, I never came from a racist family. My parents were not racist, nor my grandparents. My racism began going to elementary school. I dealt with Hispanic hits of Puerto Rican nationality at first, so I did not hate them. I was bullied by those kids. I hate when they were racist towards black people because I don't like one, non-white people are racist towards other non-white people. I only like when white people are racist towards non-white people. Middle school, I wind up hating blacks and also Hispanics. I could not stand them. I could not take the bullying no more. So I constantly said the word, and then we have the N-word. I'll say it on the podcast, not when I'm on camera, because I know what you fuckers will do with that. And I stereotype Hispanics because they're a bunch of a border crosser, Mexican, Cuban, Dominican, Colombian, Venezuelan, Peruvian, Brazilian, Latinos. Jewish people and black people I cannot stand. Blacks, some of my closest friends are black, so I like them, but I don't exactly care about their life, so they die. Don't care. Serving obedient blacks are supposed to die for Christian white people. I've been a part of Nazi groups with my friends wanting to grab a bat and back a minority in their head. I hate Jewish people, Muslims, blacks, Hispanics, Asian people, but I hate the Hispanics more. Me and my Christian white power friends got into fights with these wetback speck Latinos. Can't even spell your fucking slurs correctly. My family wants nothing to do with me because of my ultra-right racist white supremacy and how I embrace fascism. I believe Christian white people are the only superior people. You might be an atheist, but you're the only one I like, and Biggs is a speck. And that's the story. That's what you guys all voted for. That's what you guys voted for. I'm not surprised that the proud racist Nazi has the grammar of a third grader. I think maybe he might be just like a big retard, and that might explain a lot of what we just read. He's slurring his slurs? Yeah. Mumkey is really going mask off. No! This dude is currently employed by the CIA. Biggs truly is a speck. He spelled it S-P-E-C. I want my money back. That sucked. Okay. Drooling all over the keyboard. Mormon next. Well, if Patchy's wife says so. Yeah, Kino Corner, you would agree with that story. I'm not surprised. Where'd that Mormon story go? Mormon hellhole. And he submitted a photo. Oh, it's just a meme. Yeah, I take showers in the morning. How do you know? And I guess I could probably show this without... Yeah, it's not even worth trying to figure it out. It's just a shitty meme. Anyway. Holy crap, that was boring. I mean, I'd say it's far from boring, but it's also not a good story. It's just somebody listing off all the minorities he hates. At least it was short. What, are you talking about me again? You fuckers? At least we finally got to hear Florian's true side. Mumkey, can't you see? Yeah. Okay. No more Moon Man. It's time for Mormon Hellhole, the Steak Dance. Hey, Mumkey, I saw this stream and jumped, hoping this is my chance. So if I do end up getting on, tell chat that they're going to all die alone, just like me and just like you. So as you can tell by the title, I was born in a Mormon hellhole known as Utah. Technically, I was born in some military base in Texas, but was only there for 2 months until we were allowed to go back home. I was, however, completely raised in Utah. Being in a Mormon culture is something else. You're expected to always be cheerful, always sociable. They spread some bullshit about how we're supposed to make people want to join because we're so happy, and they would want to be happy like us. I, however, was not happy. I don't think I've ever been truly happy, or at least content, for a long time. It's a tale as old as time. The Spurger's kid is socially isolated, and so he grows depression and an edgy sense of humor. But the special twist is that growing up, my dad was always a huge figure within the wards he was in. My mother was too, or at least as prominent as a woman would be allowed to be in the Mormon church. This gave some immense pressure to me. I was expected to be leading the generation to become full-on Latter-day Saints. The biggest fear of mine was the possibility of ever going on a mission, which, as you probably know, is where you pay them to spend 2 years going around and convincing people to become Mormon. I didn't know that the missionaries had to pay to do it. I was hoping they were at least doing it for free, or at the very least getting paid minimum wage. These fucking cucks are wasting their own money to go knock on people's doors? The next time these Latter-day or whoever the fuck these people are come knocking on your door to try to convert you to their dumbass religion, now that we know they're not being forced to do it, but in fact they're paying for the privilege, I'm gonna start being about 100 times more rude to those people. Get the fuck off my lawn. Anyway. It's like 20 grand? Are you kidding? That's insane. Fuck these people. Fuck the Mormons. That's retarded. What they don't tell you is that the mission is actually there to be the final step of indoctrination for a member. If you spend that much time investing into the religion, you're almost guaranteed to be a steady 10% gross income. The idea of being sent far away from everyone I never knew was both exciting and terrifying for me. Now, the funny thing is, despite my obvious loner tendencies, again, shout-outs to chat, I actually have a decent relationship with my father. Opposite of a shout-out to chat. My siblings, too. I was scared at the idea of leaving them, and the only person who had ever been my friend, a girl I met in 4th grade, but that's another story for another chamber, if at all, since we are still friends and keep in contact. On the other hand, I was almost guaranteed to be going away from the other people who had made my life a hellhole. I specifically remember one day where I was feeling particularly down, doing the nay-nay on my brain depression style. This was when I was at a young men's meeting, which is an activity you're all but forced to go to in the middle of the week for the teenagers of the ward. And I was approached by one of the leaders. They said, "Hey, Anon, you seem particularly down. Is something wrong?" I thought I could trust him. I opened up, talking about my failures of social interaction, my lack of direction, and my frustration with the people around me. Almost every single sentence was followed with an "uh-huh" or a "yeah, I see." His eyes started to glaze over. I thought he wasn't listening, so I said, "And the worst part is that I'm saying all this stuff to someone who doesn't even care to give a response." This was met with yet another lukewarm response until he realized I was done talking. He just said, "Dang, I'm sorry," and that was the end of it. He didn't check up on me again. Ultimately, I think I can summarize my experience with a single story. A tale of, what else, teenage angst, isolation, a select few bullies, me, the autistic kid, and the adults who didn't give two shits. The dance. When I was 16, as is common in Mormonism, I was allowed to date. I was allowed, particularly, to go to the Stake, a collection of 4 or so wards, dance. I didn't want to go, but my dad forced me to, saying that it would be healthy for me to put myself out there. It went as well as you would expect. I spent about an hour and a half in the corner, trying to not draw attention to myself. The music was boring, mid-2010s pop, and was obviously not to my taste. It was loud, crowded, and I was so alone. Or so I thought. Out of the blue, a girl I'll call Ashley, as is Depression Chamber tradition, puts her arm around my shoulder and says, "Hi, Anon." I knew it was bizarre. Nobody ever treated me like this. It was especially unheard of because this white girl was a Mormon dream and wouldn't come anywhere near me. I couldn't see why she would, let alone why she would put her arm around me. Uh-oh. I did, however, see something out of the corner of my eye. A kid, phone in hand. It was some jackass who I'll name Joseph due to the connection to my old faith. Joseph was someone who took particular joy in harassing me. He would constantly do shit just to get a reaction out of me. This time, it looked like his plan was to record the loner kid who never gets attention finally getting attention, then gets pranked when hot girl flirts with him. Gone wrong, gone autistic video. I walked up to him and took the phone from him. He didn't expect me to catch on so fast, and since Joseph was a particularly small kid, as in shorter than you, Simian, it took almost no effort to take it. The problem was that because of the kind of phone he was using, you could record without unlocking the phone, but you couldn't delete without unlocking it. I ran off, phone in hand, into the bathroom, the refuge of neets everywhere who are overwhelmed in social situations. I had my stall knocked on multiple times and they kept trying to get over the top by climbing. I refused to get out until I was told the password and could delete the video. Of course, that didn't happen. I was in there for 14 minutes total until one of the chaperones came in. He told me to get out and I tried explaining. Joseph, however, said that I was jealous when Ashley put her arm on his shoulder and took his phone when he was trying to take a picture of them. This, of course, was easily disproven because the video was in his phone. It was the proof! And you know what? I was still made out to be the bad guy. Even though I had clearly shown what happened, I was told I was in the wrong for it escalating and that I needed to apologize. I was given some verses about turning the other cheek and told that they expected me to give Joseph a written letter of apology. I never wrote a letter. It was never enforced. I guess I'm at least thankful that the chaperone made Joseph delete the video, but ultimately I was still tuckered out. I started walking home, which was about 4 miles away, in my Sunday best because that was dance wear for these stake events. I cried along the way. I cried hard. I hoped that I wasn't seen, but I cried anyways. I felt utterly betrayed. No, I was utterly betrayed by the people who were supposed to protect me, by the people who I was told would be viable for befriending. I've always felt like there's some deeper level of social communication that I just can't see, and I guess that's why I'm the one with the diagnosed disorder and not the normies. Just a 2D figure in a 3D world. Post-dance. Things didn't change afterwards. They didn't change after I changed schools. They did, however, change when I embraced the baby-eating atheist lifestyle. I stopped going to church. I stopped going to seminary. I was in an online school and I was studying computers as a side gig. And you know what? I was happier. Not happy, but ever so slightly, it was easier to live. To date, I still have yet to make a good break with anyone in real life, but that doesn't mean I'm not trying. I'm trying to be productive, going to social meets for hobbies, college classes, and overall am just not giving up. With the recent surge of people leaving the church, the younger generation in Utah is becoming more and more tolerable. The following is my spoof of the stereotypical child's testimony that is given during Fast Sunday. I just would like to take a second to bear my testimony. I know the church isn't true. I know Joseph Smith was a con man, and I know that Jesus Christ was not white. I do love my family, though. In the name of Lucifer Satan, amen. Anyways, I guess this is a somewhat high-functioning depression chamber because despite my obvious social stunting, I've gained a level of self-awareness that came to me around age 17, which has made me realize that despite not being deserving of actual harassment, I did used to be annoying as hell. In conclusion, Ashley and Joseph are cunts, and if for some ungodly reason you're watching this and recognize that you were in this story, I hope you go delete your Roblox accounts. As for you, Mumkey, you're a glorious bastard, and I do hope that this becomes a more common thing. And chat, while you are technically excluded from going to outer darkness because the majority of you were never Mormon, I do hope I see you there. Partially so I can see you in hell, and partially because you guys would make hell worth it. From the sounds of things, it's gonna be pretty cool. We have gays, prostitutes, rock and roll music, and D&D. Sincerely, the poet. P.S. If you shower in the morning instead of at night, you are an absolute troglodyte, and you deserve worse than outer darkness. Okay. That's the Mormon story. We learned a lot today, really. I truly did learn something about that retarded faith. Damn, he's wilding at the end there. Yeah, they think Jesus was white. Joseph Smith of Mormonism, nah, more like John Smith from the Men in the High Castle. God is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. I don't know, Mako. Sounds like he became less depressed when he became an atheist. So, you know, maybe it's worth a shot. It's all his fault. Yeah, my thoughts on the whole stealing somebody's $600 phone and trying to hide it in the bathroom is not a good solution to this late epic prank. Worse things can happen in life than a girl puts her arm around you and you get filmed. I can't imagine I would give a single fuck, let alone steal his property. You know, like this guy, Mr. Poet, you know, you kind of spurged out a little bit. Story was mid. I could go on and on about Mormonism. Well, send me all the juicy details in an email so that Vincent can use them in the Vincent's Religion Reviews video. Very spurgy. God good, Mormon bad? Well, you're half right. That's why I am normal. No, because I wouldn't steal somebody's phone and try to flush it down the toilet. Flowey, it's okay if you didn't pay attention. It was not, not the best story. I think it's bathroom break time. So, I'll be right back. Farewell, my friends. I'll leave you with the music. Hey, hey, hey! Look who's back! It's Fat Mumpy. Okay, I'm gonna go deep into the archive. All these stories I've been reading, you know, are from this year, but there's over 300 stories that have not been read. So I'm gonna skip back to the good old days. Let's see, some stories from 2020. What a time. How far back does this go? What's the oldest story we have not read from 2019? Do we dare read a story that's 3 years old? I live in constant fear of Mumkey. Mumkey won't come back. Mumkey pooped to death. Now that was just a piss. I do all my shitting in the morning. But the pissing is like non-stop all day. I think I might be pregnant. Oh, I should mention, shout outs to new patrons, Ceres and Sassy. I imagine you guys joined while watching the stream. Thank you for joining the Patreon. Kino Corner, you don't need to come back to Iowa. I'll come to you. We had a lot more fun in Austin, even though I was sick as fuck, because you gave me COVID. But there's nothing for us to do here. No, of course I didn't wash my hands. What the fuck? I'm just at my house on my computer, you know? My germs are my germs. My dick's not covered in fucking COVID. I'll be fine. I didn't read your message. I'm sorry, Ronald. I don't see a message. Congrats on my baby. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna make a poll of stories from 2019. There's one called How Gfur Ruined My Life. Okay. Ruined my life. Okay. I have lived a life of despair and torment, but he spelled despair D-E-S-P-I-E-R. Des-P-R. The best part about these ones is, most likely the writers of these stories are not watching me at all anymore, so we can especially shit on these people and they'll never know. Let's see what else. How I survived the worst month of my life. Worst month. Okay, vote on these. What about monkeypox? I don't have that yet. I'm gonna go see that new movie Bros about all those LGBT comedians, so I'll probably get monkeypox in the movie theater. How Gfur Ruined My Life has an early lead at 66%. Des-PR is only at 30, so I think it might not stand a ghost of a chance. Mumkey and the Clegg podcast? Is Clegg even still alive? I feel like after he was on the Dick Show, he probably just gave up. Now I know what being a furry is, but is a Gfur something different? And as I click on the story, I see a lot of My Little Pony discussion. So, Patchy says he will never watch that movie. Which movie? Oh, the Bros movie? Me and Eggy are going to see it tomorrow. Eggy is about to be on his way to my house. He's gonna head here right after he gets off work. Okay, we're gonna take you back to the past to read a shitty story that sucks ass, folks, because the winner is How Gfur Ruined My Life. Is there an archive of when Asterios made Clegg break his phone? I hope so. I don't even remember what show that was on. I would imagine it was on the Dick Show. It's probably just in the Dick on Clegg episode of the Dick Show. But I honestly don't remember. I haven't seen the trailer for Bros. What is it about? It is, it's just supposed to be like an LGBTQ XLMNOP comedy about a bunch of gay people and trans people making fun of straight white men for an hour and a half. And evidently the movie is bombing at the box office as bad as any movie ever has. And if you watch the trailer, you'll know why. So Eggy and I are pretty excited to go see that one. But let's read how Gfur, spelled G-F-U-R, ruined my life. So this is a story all about how my life got turned upside down. I'd like to take a minute to sit right there. I'll tell you about the time I ruined my life via gay furry porn. Oh, so the G stands for gay. Okay. I thought it was like a G Fuel scenario, but no, it's something else. It seems a lot of these stories aren't really about depression so much as they're about cringy things people went through as young adults. Here's my story. I have an older sister, and in my household, my parents were always concerned about me becoming a man and treating women correctly. My sister capitalized on this by running to my parents and getting me in trouble whenever we roughhoused. We would wrestle over the TV remote and hit each other with pillows when we got bored of watching TV. As anyone with siblings knows, this kind of fighting can escalate. And when it did, my sister would run to my parents and get me in trouble. My parents would punish me, always siding with her regardless of the situation. Eventually, I was so angered by a particular incident, I decided to punish my parents by refusing to talk to them. It was in 2012, my freshman year of high school, when I stopped talking to them and subsequent events unfolded that have since changed my life. But before that, I have to back up and talk about some embarrassing stuff. I've got into internet culture at an early age. At 12, I found funny junk and then migrated to 4chan when I was 13. On 4chan, I would go on B and bathed my young mind in perverted porn. I couldn't get enough. Eventually, my tastes shifted to extreme things. I developed a fetish for gay furry porn, particularly stuff involving horses. I think, I don't even need to make the joke. I think we all know who wrote this story. I was also a brony and would enjoy some MLP porn on occasion. But that's not gay. All the My Little Ponies are women. Oh, I call a lie. What a liar this man is. I let my desires run wild, but slowly I began to realize that this porn was shameful and unhealthy. I would download gigs and gigs of gay furry horse porn onto a flash drive and then delete it all a few days later, only to do it all again! He's just like me, for real, for real. Epic vowish moment. Yeah. Guys, he's reading my story. Well, Nicholas Cruiser, I mean, I think you should be a mod for sure, Nicholas. Especially if you're gonna admit to... I mean, this was from Nicholas Cruiser. I didn't want to out him, but it does say it was from him. I couldn't break the addiction. I'm especially embarrassed to admit that around this time, I was interested in real-life zoophilia with real horses! Fucking Mr. Hands bullshit here. I spent a lot of time on the computer. I didn't have a single friend, and needless to say, I was petrified of talking to girls. This was a really bad time for me. I couldn't tell anyone about my porn struggles, and if I was horny, I didn't even want to stop. I felt like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Why is Patchy's wife posting sad face emojis? YMS wrote this. Hey, I said we would not need to make the joke! You get mod, you get mod. Yeah, that's right. Wait, Heartsy, I thought you were a mod. Or maybe that's just in the Discord. Yeah, Heartsy, you're a mod in the Discord anyway. Okay, now jump back to the time I stopped talking to my parents. I had just purged all my porn and decided to start saving some again. I was on a family computer! So I copy and pasted about 8 pics from a thread into my email so I could save them, I guess he meant save them, on my own PC later. Guys... I'm not just gonna say don't look at porn on the family computer, but especially gay furry horse porn on the family computer. Come the fuck on, dude. Oh, I don't even know if I could read this. Oh, I can't. I physically can't read this. I sent my email and thought nothing more. Tensions with my parents had mounted. What, mounted like you with a fucking horse? My silly protest of not speaking snowballed out of control and threw the family into turmoil. I didn't come to dinner, and because they thought I wasn't eating, they threatened to call an ambulance to take me to the hospital if they didn't see me eat. They tried to force me to talk to them. My dad threatened to put everything I owned out on the curb. He started to, but my mom stopped him. I fought back the only way I thought I could. I poisoned houseplants and cracked eggs into the heating ducts to smell. I would pull out the bottom freezer drawers and dump water into them so the freezer became a solid block of ice. This man is a menace in many ways. I bet he wants the horse to mount him. Yeah, I bet. This is stolen from a green text? Well, then he organized it into paragraphs, so... I remember one thing in particular. I had dumped water onto the hardwood floors. My father, enraged, stormed into my room and grabbed my bed sheets to soak up the water. When he came back, he hurled them at me. I turned my back to him and began to mindlessly arrange things on my shelf, not acknowledging him. He then began to berate me and make fun of me, something he had never done before, calling me Martha Stewart and a sissy cleaning her room, or things to that effect. I didn't understand it then, but now I do. At some point, my parents took my computer out of my room without explanation to punish me. This really pissed me off because I felt it was unjustified as I had paid for half of it myself. Things got worse. They called the police to intimidate me and scare me into compliance, but I still refused to speak. I would lock myself in my room for literal days while my parents, mostly my dad, tried to get in. Not leaving to even drink or use the bathroom. He would stand on the street to stare at me through my windows and wait silently outside my door, hoping I would unlock it so he could get to me. Eventually, he yelled at me through the door, saying that he was going to bust it down if I didn't unlock it. I didn't, and he started to drill through the lock. I slipped out my window and ran to a wooded area to wait out the siege. This whole situation was incredibly traumatic for me. I never rebelled from my parents before and felt like a scared little kid. Completely alone and consumed with rage, I seriously considered killing them both! Not enough for a Mumkey vid, but pretty bad all the same. Although I had these thoughts, I never aggressed against them in any way. In fact, I did everything I could to never even be seen by them. Anyways, when I came back, my door was gone, and my resolve to never speak to them again hardened further. I would eventually attach a new door without a handle, but with a metal plate over the mechanism so it could only be opened from the inside. Sorry, I'm burping up my tea here. They would intercept my mail and keep my packages hostage. My mom would come and cry outside my door at night in tears, begging me to talk, while my dad would harass, intimidate, and bully me. It was a hellish existence. My sister tried to meditate once. I don't remember much, but I was in the living room with her and my father. I don't remember why I was allowed myself to be in the same room as my father or even talk to him. But I do remember what happened next. I was yelling at him about how they took away my PC without any provocation. This punishment occurred before I started trying to fuck up the house. It was only a reaction to my refusal to talk. And how they stole a package for me containing a laptop motherboard that I ordered. That's when he exploded and started yelling at me, telling me that my mom had snooped through the email and found the porn I sent myself. Not knowing the situation, my sister tried to stick up for me, saying it was normal for guys my age to look at porn, but my dad continued. He said he saw all my sick, disgusting horse porn and looked through my history and saw I looked up zoo-related stuff. This was all in front of my sister. I shriveled and died right there. This was the worst thing I could possibly think of. I felt like I broke as a person. This explained all the things my dad said to me and how he bullied me. The days after this happened, I never came home. I was too ashamed. I stayed out all day and night. I nearly killed myself. Things got worse at home. My resolve was fueled by a combination of shame and rage. I never left my room during the day unless they weren't home, and I never let them see me. I still haven't spoken to them 8 years later. Bad things have happened since then, but I don't have the energy to write much about it. They tried to ambush me and cornered me, so I had to talk to them. They tried to use their joint access to my bank account as leverage, saying they'd take money out if I didn't talk to them. They called the police and told them I was making a bomb. By senior year of high school, they stopped trying to force me to interact with them. I left for college alone. I've been alone for a long time now. I'm almost 22 and have never had a GF. I've struggled and am floundering in college. Maybe people can relate, but I watch YouTube vids every free waking moment of the day to keep me distracted and occupied from my current situation. Shame and the trauma of the fights keeps me from reconnecting with my family. I've fundamentally altered as a person, addressing problems by avoiding them and talking much less in general. I really wish I could go back and change the past. In 8 years, I haven't said a single syllable to my father and only a few sentences to my mother. I hate furries and zoophiles. Yeah, right. Kicking that stuff was the only good thing to come of this. There's so much I haven't said or explained, but I'll end it here. I know you don't give advice, but if you'd want to, I'd listen. Thanks, me. P.S. to anyone feeling depressed or suicidal, please seek professional counseling. It really does help. What a story, Mark. Man is banned from several public spaces. This story was insane. He can't own mirrors. If the person who wrote this is here, do it. They sent this 3 years ago, so I doubt they're still here. That's a lot of channels to keep track of. Do you guys have any advice for this man? Let's see it. I'd love to hear it. Okay, let's go back to the modern day. Because some of you are just submitting stories right now. So might as well read yours while you're here. Good story, hard to get through though. Or hard to get through. Did Dream ever FaceTime you? No, not yet. Anyone who wants to fuck a horse is disgusting, yeah. Or get fucked by a horse too. Tell your family the gay furry porn was just a joke? Am I allowed to give that advice on YouTube? Probably not. Bro, read my message? What message? I'm right here. Okay, here's a story called My Best Friend Raped My Crush and Fucked Up Our Friendship. Okay, I'll make a poll. Friend grape crush. Let's see, we need some more. How I became a neat shut-in, my experiences with love. And why do I keep ending up at psych wards? Okay. Psych ward. Oops. Okay. Let's see what people want to hear. Baron donated to say Eggy has OCD, oversized cock disorder. Yeah, I've heard rumors about that as well. You know what they say? When you fall down, get back on the horse. Obeys Matrix, you are a madman. The Friend Grape Crush is currently winning with 40% of the vote, with Psych Wars closely behind at 37%. So it could go either way. The Neat Story, trailing behind at 25. Lots of people in the chat advocating for the grape story. My friend is the grapist. Okay, we're gonna read the grape story. It's just one giant paragraph, my favorite. Oh, I love that so much. My best friend raped my crush and fucked up our relationship. Hi, Jimmy. I don't know if this story is worthy of the Depression Chamber, but I'll write anyway. I'm sorry if there are any mistakes, as I'm drunk and not a native English speaker. This all starts in high school. On my first year, I met my now ex-best friend, who I'll call Mike for the sake of anonymity. Ugh, hate that word. We were both pretty lame, edgy guys who had never gone to a party. Mike was the ugliest man I've ever seen in my life. In my second year, I said the equivalent of bitch to a teacher, and I got expelled. I had to transfer schools, and that fucked me up socially. In this new school, I couldn't relate to anyone because the people in my class were all the kind to rob people on the street. But thanks to that, I started hanging out with friends from elementary school and started doing drugs. In one of these hangouts, they invited a girl from their class. She was a really slutty Ukrainian girl who I immediately developed a crush on. I'll call her Ada. As I was really drunk, I talked to my elementary school friend, and he said Ada had a crush on me. I didn't believe him, so I pretended to not understand what he said. He was drunk anyways, so I thought it was bullshit. The next day, Ada started talking to me on WhatsApp, and she began to come to my house pretty often. One night, she invited us all to a party, and I got drunk on my own before going. On my way to the party, I asked her if she wanted to be my girlfriend, and she said what I interpreted as a very sarcastic yes. When I arrived, she immediately went for a kiss, but I pussied out and hugged her instead. Keep in mind that I was a kissless virgin, so I didn't know what to do. I was so frightened of being shit at kissing that I didn't realize I had fucked up. She looked at me with a face of disgust and ran off to the rest of the party. Yeah, that's fucking rough, dude. When somebody goes in for a kiss and they get rejected, it does not feel good. Especially when you just started dating them, dude. Anyway, when I came to realize what had happened, it was too late, so I spent most of the party alone in a corner smoking until she came and told me to walk her home. I went with her and even gave her my jacket, but when we arrived, I was still too much of a pussy to make a move. She somehow continued to talk to me, but I never tried to make a move for some years. On the last year of school, she invited me and Mike to a last school day party. When we arrived there, Mike told me he had a crush on Ada and that he was gonna make a move that night. I thought it was really shit for him to hit on my crush, as he even knew that I liked her, but I didn't say anything and just watched and got shit-faced. From there on, Mike started to become really friendly with Ada, which had me really fucking mad, but bros before hoes, so I wasn't going to fight over it. Half a year goes by and she stops talking to me. Then through a couple of hangouts with Mike, he tells me how they talk every day and that he fell in love with her, but she doesn't want anything more than friendship. Inside, I was laughing at this, but I tried to comfort my friend and encourage him to keep trying. What a fucking cuck! I hate this person. Thinking about it after the fact, I might have caused him to do this, which still haunts me. One night, Mike invites Ada to his house, and as they were cuddling, he starts touching her. She told him to fuck off, but he kept going. He didn't tell me much more about what happened, but basically, Mike raped her and thought it was okay. I'm pretty fucked, so I didn't really care at the time. After that, Ada never talked with him and started texting me again. One night when I was shit-faced, I sent her a 10-minute audio message with mostly unintelligible words that ended with me asking her out on a date, to which she accepted, so we went out. Turns out she apparently liked me after all my fuck-ups. She even made the move to make out with me because I'm a retard and couldn't read the situation. After a couple of dates, she came to my house and I lost my virginity. After that, she started canceling dates and eventually stopped talking to me. This really fucked me up, so one night I started drinking and told this to Mike, who started bitching about how he loved her and how he couldn't believe that I would do something like this. Then I told him that I felt the same way when he tried going out with her and that he was a pussy for getting angry over this. The verbal fight escalated into a fist fight of which I don't remember much. After a couple months, he called me and asked to talk in person. He came to my house and explained to me that he had some sort of split personalities and that he never meant anything that had happened. To this day, I don't fully believe him, and we pretty much lost contact. It may not be something that fucked, but it really killed my confidence. It's been a year, and I can't even fathom the idea of talking to a woman for some fear that some shit like this will happen again. Looks like Ricardo is just randomly timing people out, so I'm gonna have to stop letting him be a mod, but that's the end of that story. Sorry if you got timed out, people, but you know, unmodding people feels as good as modding them. Anyway, what'd you guys think of, I think everybody in this story is a big piece of shit, personally. He banned the entire chat. I'll go unban everybody real quick. Hey, Aggie, thank you. But you probably need that gas money, you know? Don't be throwing it away to me. Okay, let's unban every single person in the channel, if I can remember how to do that. Let's see, community. Got lots of moderators. Let's see, who should not be a mod anymore? Probably most of you. Okay, unban you. We can leave Toot banned, that's fine. Naked HD XYZ cheap sex dating. I guess I'll unban that guy. That's probably fine. I'm sure they were posting quality stuff. Okay, if you were banned a minute ago, you should be unbanned now. I just unbanned everybody, other than Toot. Please unmute Candor. Well, he can't wait 300 seconds? What did Toot do? She was born, and that is a sin. Any sped should be kicked? Okay. Which story should we read next now that everybody's unbanned? And everybody who is back from the Shadow Realm, welcome back. Toot doesn't shower? Yeah, that's why she's banned. Randy says I never banned anybody because I'm weak. Can I read my story? We already read your story, Nicholas Cruiser. Yeah, Jared Jams, I responded to your email, but, oh, you sent it again? Oh, this is an update to a story that he sent like 3 years ago. I specifically remember reading this one in North Carolina because he submitted a picture of the girl he had a crush on, and it's some girl with goggles, and I remembered seeing the photo. But I guess there's an update now, so... I guess I'll read the update, although I don't think anybody's even gonna remember the story. It is what it is, mod tubes. Okay, Eggy can be a mod. He only bans half the people in my chat. I guess if Ricardo appears in the chat again, any mod is free to ban Ricardo, since he tried to ban everybody. But Jared Jams, hopefully he'll give us a recap, because I don't remember his story other than he had a crush on some girl with goggles. And it says, please do not share the image because she was 16 at the time it was taken. So he's just sending me pictures of underage girls for some reason, but let's read his story. Hey Monkey, it's me, Jared Jams, coming to give you an update 3 years from the last email. First things first, I still have not driven a car, but my attitude towards it have calmed down. I think the key thing was to stop labeling things as good and bad and view most things as neutral. Of course, I'm not gonna just do bad things because of that. I still have a basic sense of right and wrong, but I feel that it's best when you view life through the lens of curiosity, having a I wonder what'll happen today attitude. So I guess we're not really getting a recap on the other story, but that's general. Now I'll be more specific. Since 2019, I have been visiting a community near where I live for people on the autism spectrum, which has various weekly groups people go to. During COVID, a lot of it was on Zoom. Two in particular have had a major impact on me these past few years: Rights Group and Dungeons and Dragons Group. I won't bore you with the meticulous details. I'll just say that these groups were not always consistent, with some members coming once in a while, others being regulars for a while, and as far as the writing group is concerned, I have been by far the most consistent visitor, as it is something I am very passionate about. You might like this story from my Dungeons and Dragons group. A guy there told me that he saw the video of you reacting to my short film. This is the first and only time so far I've met another Monkey Jones fan in real life. And me and a different member of this group are currently brainstorming ideas for your next contest as of when I'm typing this, July 4th, 2022. I've also been seeing the same therapist since 2020 and have talked extensively about the issues I've been having. I actually sent her a video of you reading my first Depression Chamber story, and as best to my I think I remember commenting on this at some point. I think you might have said in the chat that he sent his therapist the video of me reading his Depression Chamber. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. And as best to my memory, she said something like, "You really entertained that host. He liked using the fucking word." And she said the actual word. I guess I do like saying the word fuck, so yeah. That's the most honest thing a therapist has ever said about me. The last conversation with her is especially relevant because we discussed how I had this mindset that I had to be absolutely absent of fear before I began to drive. But I realized that it's okay to do things that you are afraid of, and that perhaps the act of driving itself can help with fear. A common theme that came up, and one that I have incorporated into my writing, is that being brave doesn't mean having no fear whatsoever, but doing what you need to in spite of how scared you are. Of course, there are cases where being too afraid to do something is illogical, such as jumping off a really tall building, but in the case of driving a car, it's a perfect example for me. This bleeds into other areas of life as well, such as telling people what you truly think or feel regardless of how they'll react. I'm sure my family would not like your content or me watching it and participating in it, but if that happens, I will simply say that I am an adult now and can make my own decisions. That's right. That's right. Once you're an adult, your family can't stop you from watching Monkey Jones. It's true. That should be in the Constitution. And that leads me to another subject, adulthood. As a kid, I resented it, and as I entered it, I was still apprehensive. But realizing that the majority of my life will be in it, and it really is not as bad as I once thought. The more I put my past behind me, the better I feel. I think of life like a video game, and each age is a level, and experience points are given and increased over time. But a distinction is that not everyone will put their experience to good use. I hope that I will and that I have. My main issues now are learning how to live on my own and basic life skills, but I don't think they'll be as hard to learn as I used to. Honestly, this email may be a bit too positive for this series, but I think it's good to balance the good with the bad, as I've learned the importance of their coexistence. And while the community for people on the autism spectrum has been immensely helpful, I would be lying if I said that it's always a positive experience. They are for people all over the spectrum, and I'll say this in the nicest way I can. Some people there are a bit easier to communicate with than others, but I understand it is not their fault. On a side note, me and 3 other members of the writers group published a poetry collection locally. For some interesting connections, it was published in a small store owned by the mother of a girl who used to be a sort of co-leader of the group, and said girl is also dating the dungeon master of my D&D group. I'm not sure why I'm addicted to advertising my writings to you, but I'll give you a link in case you're interested. 2020, a living and learning poetry collection. To top this email off, I think it'd be hilarious if you reacted to my reaction to your reaction to my short film. You misunderstood me last time. I really wanted you to watch it, but I just gave you a heads up that it was 10 minutes long. But I understand if you wish not to. I'll update you when I see fit. I look forward to more of your content and to more of my life. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It was not really much of a depression story. But hopefully somebody remembered your story from 3 years ago and appreciated the update. You guys want us to watch him, watch me, watch his video? I see 2 people saying watch it. We'll do a vote. Should we watch it? And kids react to? That sucked, not gonna lie. Well, yeah, and then the guy who you're talking shit about comments right after you. Wow, 76% said yes. How come there's no update on the goggle girl? This girl you had a crush on, who's wearing goggles. I'd love to, you know, find out if you guys got married or not. You know, that was not in the story here. Okay, looks like we're watching his video. Let's see, now I have to do like live editing on OBS. That's gonna suck. Let's see. We switch to this. Nope, wrong. That's the wrong one. I guess I'll pull it up. Yeah, this is 10 minutes long, huh? Full screen it. Put the watching thing on. Okay. Now I gotta get myself on here somehow. How do I add me? I want to add myself. Video. Video capture device. Add existing me. There's a nice big me. God, I hate editing on OBS. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this is probably fine. This is probably fine. Let's watch it.
Before we begin, you should know that when recording this, I thought that the videos would play side by side simultaneously, but no. The app just records your reaction and just the audio with it. And I'm so frustrated because all day long I've been trying to find an app or something.
There's so much picture-in-picture going on now.
Watch a video and pause it and commentate on it, record my reaction and the video simultaneously. How hard is it to make an app like that? I can't find anything like that. So what I've done is I've taken the original footage and I put my reaction over it. I muted the original.
People want to change their votes?
With the audio still there. I'm sorry this came out so terribly. Even if I could find what I wanted, it still wouldn't be that great. But the whole point
Turn it off.
Is me roasting myself, and now it's even proven my point more. I hate technology.
I should have voted
really
no.
do, but nevertheless, here we go. So I'm gonna react to Monkey's reaction to my
This
video.
was on Twitch?
I wish I could pause the video.
I wish I remembered how to use Twitch.
But
Everybody will have an equal chance.
I don't understand technology, so
Me neither.
this is the best I can do.
Turn it up a bit, okay.
Might just
Read another story. People voted for this, dude!
have to talk simultaneously.
Okay, Gold Rex King. If you want to give me $10 to give me shit, You could give me shit all fucking day.
That's right.
I am down to clown.
That's right.
Comments.
I agree with the guy
Comments.
talking.
Camera.
Telling a strange
There's a fucking sigh.
Technology monkey. I'm so
We had sigh emojis.
fried chicken.
This is horrible.
Hershey's bars in the fridge.
I'm like blocking his face too.
How it was put.
This is horrible. I can't turn it up. It's a quiet video. This is how loud it is. I can't hear him either.
Your family needs.
I don't even like ice cream.
Lean cuisine, yeah, right. Mouth all that goddamn ice cream. This fridge is heaven. Shut up, Sassy.
I'm so sorry. Ready for some vengeance?
Tell me this is for me.
58% of people say we should stop, and I think I agree with them.
Whoa.
I can't hear him either.
This needs to be at least 4 minutes.
He makes me feel good about being me. Now that's just rude.
Short, but I want to be,
Okay.
you know.
The people have spoken. I can't do it either. Sorry if the music was overlapping for a moment. Jared Jams, next time, do some fucking audio mixing, dude. We can't hear that shit. I don't know why people can't figure that out. Like, we can't hear it when you're fucking whispering. Download, there's something on your computer you can get. It's called Levelator. Go find the Levelator, drag your audio in there, and it'll make it audible. It's that easy. Anyway. The steal wasn't stopped. Did you see Don't Worry, Darling? Yeah, I did see that one. We actually have an Is It Kino on that coming out sometime in October. But I liked it more than everybody else did, I'll say that. If we keep watching it on his TVs, it's like we never lost it. Well, it's gone now. Okay, I think we have time for another story. Let's find another story. There's one called From Fiancé to Restraining Order. Okay. I'll do a poll. Restraining Order Fiancé. Tranny gets pegged by life. So, we always love the transgender stories. Trans pegging. And there's one called Hamburger, but then the text is just also the word hamburger. No, Humburger, my bad, not ham. Probably your oldest fan without the wisdom of age. Okay, so let's see if anybody wants to hear from an actual old man. Let's ask. Is it a trans man or trans woman? The name is Samantha, so, you know, it's really up in the air. Humburger, that's right. Humburger. The trans stories are always the same, and I love them every time. And it's winning. The trans pegging story is winning. Samantha Hyde. Yeah. Old man is now winning. Hey. Okay. I want to hear the wisdom or the non-wisdom of an elderly fan. Oh, it's been so long since he sent this, you know. 2021. You know, he might have died of old age by now. Okay, that wins. Oh, he's not even fucking old. 35. Shut up. Fucking Randy is like 50. Come on. Whatever. Probably your oldest fan without the wisdom of age. Hey, Mumkey, to keep to the spirit of anonymity, I shall call myself James. I am 35. It's funny because he sent it from his actual email. He didn't even make a throwaway email, so I know his name's not fucking James. Yeah, 35 is not old. This guy's full of shit. Yeah, Randy's 57. That's a real man with wisdom here. Randy, I guess we don't need Randy to submit his story because he's been on the podcast twice and already really told his stories, but I am 35 years old and I still love your channel. You are one of the funniest motherfuckers on this planet and you have a very 90s sense of humor, the very same I grew up with. But alas, I do not come to you with comedy or laughter, but a story of sadness, depression, and maybe hoping to hear advice from the primate himself or his chat. So chat, he wants your advice. Make sure you give some good advice. I grew up a pretty boring life. My father was a computer engineer and my mom has a business degree. My father and I never really saw eye to eye because despite us being smart, we were smart in different ways. I being artistically and socially smart, him being logical and practically smart. So aka, he was actually intelligent and you liked doing arts and crafts, I guess. My dad was raised old school, a kind of military-esque break you down to build you up sort of ordeal, so every time I screwed up, my pops would yell at me, call me names, emotionally abuse me, to the point where if my mom would start crying, my dad would blame me for the reason, when it was him the whole time. This made me get closer with my mom, who is basically still my best friend and confidant to this day. My problems didn't get tenfold until I hit middle school. My dad always wanted me to be one way, but I wanted to be another way. I wanted to be a comedian, but retrospectively I get why I couldn't be one. With what my dad put into my brain, the advice he always told me was, you get out of this world what you put into it. If you put in 110%, you get 110% back. But this was, and is, never the case. My family always fought hard for what they wanted. Growing up a lower middle class white kid may not give me the sympathy most would give to another, but I feel like no matter how hard I push, things seem to get worse. It gets to where it feels like I'm giving more than 110% and achieving nothing, but at the same time, some fuck bucket with the IQ of a bowl of yogurt can go through life 20%, barely doing anything with their life, and become a lot more successful. While I'm digging ditches, they're in lawn chairs sipping Mai Tais. And this makes me a bitter person. In high school, I was a very terrible incel and blamed women for my loneliness. I had so many crushes, and I even liked a girl so much I wanted to practice using Photoshop just so I could find who her boyfriend was and make it look like he was cheating on her so I could get with her. I fucking hate that part of my life. I even thought Elliot Rodger had a point, and that makes me want to fucking vomit. So I come to you from one Jimmy to another Jimmy. You may say you aren't the best person for advice, but there is a saying from old William Shakespeare, a fool thinks himself to be wise, but a wise man knows himself to be a fool. I know a wise man when I see it. Jimmy, what can you and your fellow primates say to help a guy out? Someone who feels alienated by the future that cannot understand us. Someone who wishes he could get his life together at the age I'm at. Yours truly, James. Well, first of all, realize that 35 is not that old. You still have, like, possibly 60 more fucking years to go. Like, you're at the end of Act 1, essentially. I don't know. I mean, you didn't really give much of a story of what you've been up to. I didn't listen, sorry. Randy says most older people are boring, in my opinion. He should convert to Islam. Women are only responsible for inceldom if your reason for inceldom is height. It's the only valid claim of involuntary celibacy. Heartseat, you need to make that documentary. I look old as fuck and I'm 12 years younger. First of all, I don't appreciate him trying to say that I'm wise. Definitely not true. I don't need that shit pinned on me because it comes with certain expectations, and I would rather just be able to say the dumbest shit that I can think of without having to filter it through this expectation. So please, cool it with that. I want a trans story. This wasn't an old man story. Yeah, I think we got robbed. We really did get robbed. Usually I end these streams after about 2 hours, and we're about to hit that, but, you know, we can't leave on that story. I'll read the trans story, and that can be the last one of the night. That wasn't an old man story. I want my time back. Oh, there's Ricardo. Oh, let's see how he likes it when he gets banned. Oops. Bye, Ricardo. It's been fun. Okay, here's the story. Tranny gets pegged by life. The first thing I can remember is laying on a couch, unable to move or speak, trying to call out for help. My next memory is of pissing my pants during extended day in 1st grade. Due to my dysphoria, I've always felt anxious about using public bathrooms, especially around lots of people. After 2nd grade, my family moved the town over, but we remained in the same school district, so I would be with all my previous peers again in middle school. Moving wasn't a big deal for me, even though I've always been bad at making friends, but both of my parents cried. Cried? Okay. Oh, about moving? During 3rd grade, some of the popular kids made a show of shaking up a can of their friend's seltzer, and the next day when one of my more popular friends invited me to sit with the cool kids, I tried doing the same thing, but the can was already open, so I just ended up spilling it everywhere and embarrassing myself. I also started playing guitar around the end of 3rd grade, and my family got a hound named Sydney that summer. In 4th grade, due to curiosity about the saying, suck a dick, and being sheltered when it came to sex, me and my twin brother ended up sucking each other's... Oh, God! I don't even need to read the rest of that. Later that year, another more popular friend slept over and dared me to suck my brother's... Which I did. Patchy, I hope you're not listening. You're about to get triggered. Hopefully there's no Vietnam flashbacks, Patchy. I hope not. Which I did, and he ended up telling everyone at school, leading to extreme embarrassment. The whole thing was pretty unbelievable, and luckily, I was a quiet kid, so it was pretty easy to deny the rumors. I also got into a spelling bee for the first time that year, where I ended up anxiously spelling brown wrong in front of the whole school during the practice round. I ended up losing pretty uneventfully, which I didn't care about, but the whole experience was extremely nerve-inducing. During 5th grade, a classmate was picking on a mentally challenged student at recess by clapping in his face repeatedly and making fun of him for flinching, so I went to punch him in the face, but stopped close and made fun of him for flinching. He ran to get a teacher who yelled at me, giving me a panic attack, so I couldn't respond and began to cry. The next day, another autist told me I shouldn't have cried about it in front of the whole lunch table. After 5th grade, I lost interest in guitar, so I stopped playing and my family went on vacation to Iceland. Fatherless behavior? It's already over. That doesn't just happen, something is missing. Yeah. We've never gotten an incest story quite like that in the chamber, so... You know, they say all the trans stories are the same. I have not read that before. In 6th grade, I got into another spelling bee, which I was far more anxious during, causing me to misspell Yankee early on by stuttering over a letter. Middle school was also when I started getting really anxious and dysphoric about gym class, especially the locker rooms. I would always try to change as fast as I could in the corner of the locker room so less people would see me. I also was very weak and bad at physical activity in general, on top of the gender issues. During that year in science class, I was seated next to an extremely popular and chatty girl who I didn't talk to for half a year until she paid me $20, and then I only said hello. Also that year, one of the cats my parents had since before me and my twin brother were born. Wait, they were twins?! And the other would also pass away less than a year later. In 7th grade English class, I was assigned to write an essay on someone who my opinion of had changed. I didn't know many people, so I wrote about the boy who told on me at recess in 5th grade. I wrote about how I went from liking him to hating him, which was hyperbolized to get a good grade, but my dumb middle schooler brain ended up actually hating him for a while, which sucked since he was my brother's best friend and was often around. Around the end of 7th grade, I tried climbing a tree in my backyard, but the branch I was using to swing my legs up broke, and I ended up hitting my lower spine on a rock. I had already been experiencing minor back pain, but this made it much worse and caused me to be out of school for a week. I started getting stomach aches and throwing up from my anxiety around this time as well. My family went on another vacation between 6th and 7th grade, I believe, but to southeastern Canada this time, where I purchased a small painting. Why the fuck would we care about that? I don't give a shit that you bought a fucking painting. For the most of 8th grade, I got away with missing school due to my brother having more absences than me, leading to me missing 30 days. At one point during middle school, I'm not sure when, I was being a brat to my mother, and my father, with anger issues, ended up shaking me and yelling in my face. The summer before high school, I went on another vacation, this time around Europe, to Germany, Austria, Croatia, Italy, the Czech Republic, and Slovenia. I found Germany and Austria especially beautiful. Again, if you guys are going to submit stories, keep in mind there's a lot of stuff about your life that we don't give a shit about. If it doesn't contribute to the depression or anxiety or sucking your brother off, we really don't care, just to be clear. By the beginning of 9th grade, my anxiety was worse than it had ever been, which would lead to another 30 days missed of school. Previously, I'd gotten all A's, but that year I got a B in English due to my teacher being a bit of a cunt, causing me to no longer really care about my performance in school. I was at least able to get a doctor's note so I wouldn't have to participate in gym class that year. I said it was because of my back, but it was mostly dysphoria, anxiety, and overall poor health. My guidance counselor ended up yelling at me until I broke down crying over missing school that year, and she eventually sent the vice principal to my house with a truancy officer, causing a massive anxiety attack. I was able to pass my finals and make it into the 10th grade, but the anxiety was so bad even thinking of school would cause a breakdown. I transferred to an online class, but it didn't help, and I never ended up taking any. After I stopped going to school, I began seeing a therapist, family counselor, and psychiatrist. My doctor prescribed me Ativan, which is similar to Xanax, to help with my anxiety, but I ended up abusing it and drinking vodka with it. One night, I broke down in front of my mother, took a few pills, and took a sip of a high alcohol percentage mixer I had accidentally grabbed instead of the vodka. My parents ended up hiding the alcohol after that. Later that year, during a physical checkup at the doctor's, I had an 8-hour anxiety attack despite being heavily medicated and was put into inpatient therapy for a week by my parents. At first, I told them I hated them, but it ended up being one of the best experiences in my life. I was the youngest person in the ward, and mostly everyone there was really kind. There were also some wacky shenanigans, like someone breaking his arm from punching a stud in the wall, then tripping on painkillers to the point of seeing fish swimming in a plain blue shirt, and a schizo girl talking to no one on the phone for an hour. As sad as it may sound, that was probably the happiest time of my life. I had never felt so accepted and at home before. After leaving the hospital, I was taken off the Ativan for abusing it and was put on another drug which made the pull of gravity so strong it constantly hurt. After that medicine didn't work, I was given Xanax again, but wasn't allowed to take enough and haven't used it since. I was also diagnosed with agoraphobia and depression on top of my social anxiety around this time. Shortly after leaving the hospital, I came out to my parents as transgender, which they were thankfully very accepting of. I still haven't started hormones yet because I get extremely anxious about medical appointments. Since my first experience with inpatient care went so well, I decided to try again a year later. This time, however, I was determined to be at lower risk and was sent to a lower level program where I had an anxiety attack all day that none of the staff recognized. And when my parents visited me and I begged them to take me home, they refused. This caused me to go into a huge mental breakdown, breaking my glasses, running out of the place, and stripping down to my panties. I yelled at everyone that I hoped they would die, which also led to them thinking I may be homicidal. After my mental breakdown, I was taken by ambulance to an actual inpatient facility. There weren't as many hijinks here, but one guy did try to escape by diving through a service window. I made sure to act as sane as I could to get out of there as fast as I could this time. Since then, I started smoking marijuana with my psychiatrist's permission. I became addicted and smoked a lot to the point of throwing up blood for a month straight. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? You got addicted to pot and it made you throw up blood for a month? What are you fucking talking about? That can't be true. Mainly caused by switching to vaping, which contained much more THC. What are you... I quit after getting sick, but it led to another mental breakdown and I started smoking cigarettes. Later, I ended up continuing to smoke weed anyways. I spent most of my days now just laying in bed smoking and staring at my phone, just feeling sad and lonely. I do have dreams in life though, like having a wife someday. So, this is a lesbian trans woman. Being a bartender and making some kind of art, perhaps writing or music. I have no motivation to achieve my dreams and I'm extremely lonely. I'm writing another paragraph because I remembered some things I forgot to mention. Okay. First of all, I recently turned 19. It wasn't too clear in the last paragraph how long I've been stuck in my house doing nothing with my life. I don't have a very good concept of time and every day just blends together. Also, I mentioned getting a small painting in Canada, but I forgot to mention the time I had a mental breakdown and stabbed it a bunch. For medication, I've been taking Paxil for about a year, but it dulled all my emotions and I'm finally getting off it. The main thing I forgot to mention that I think everyone would love to hear is about cringely falling in love with a Discord girl. I used to try to use Discord to make friends since I was too scared to leave the house, and in some anime art server, I managed to actually make friends with a girl. We would message each other good morning and good night all the time, and eventually started adding hearts to our messages and shit. We even started saying that we loved each other, and as soon as I got to know her, I started actually falling in love with her, but she was only ever meant as a friend. I ended up telling her how I feel and getting rejected because she only loved me as a friend. A few months later, I let her know I still loved her and haven't been able to move on yet, and she was really nice about it, but ended up taking me a few more months and another chat with her to move on. I still love her, but I'm okay with just being her friend and finding someone else now. I don't use Discord anymore other than to message her sometimes. I guess that's all the dumb and embarrassing shit I can think of. Thanks for reading. Okay. Kino says hearts on Discord. Oh no, that wasn't Kino. Why did I'm going blind. Fate 4 said hearts in Discord. That's true love. I wish I could see you guys' reactions to the stories as I'm reading them, but, you know, God only gave me 2 eyes and he put them extremely close together, so I can't see 2 things at once, but maybe one day I'll watch my own stream back just so I can pretend I was part of the chat. Hug Eggy for me when you see him? I don't think so. Me and Eggy are very good friends, but I don't know if I'm gonna give him a big ol' hug. Discord kitten? I mean, I don't know. Seems like they were probably the same age. Jimmy's going a bit senile in his old age. Yeah, 27, man. You know, we've learned that 35 is basically the end of life. So, I'm getting up there. The story peaked too early. Yeah, it piqued my interest at one point. For sure. Hug him when you go see the Bros movie. Now that we might have to do for the thumbnail. but probably not. Drink some ZZZ Quill. We are filming Wheel of Cursed Meals 5 on Tuesday, and that is on the wheel to some extent. Kiss Aggie. I mean, of course, I always kiss my bros goodnight, but a hug is where I draw the line. Yeah, they're only 19 at the time of writing the story, evidently. And this one was sent back in January, so hopefully she's not going to ever hear this. With you guys just completely shitting on this person. But I think that's going to be the last story for tonight. Aggie's on his way to my house. You know, I've got a bunch of TV shows I need to watch. You know, the new House of the Dragon came out during this stream. New Rick and Morty came out. You know, all my favorite Reddit shows. Gotta go watch those. Are we eating dinner before the wheel? Patchy is coming over, and I assume we will be filming another Patchy cut for all of you measly few fans, but I probably will not be eating directly before it, so you should probably eat on your own, Patchy. I hope she sees. I'll send her a link to the stream. He doesn't want to hug because he doesn't want to feel the power of Aggie's big, strong arms. That is true. He would crush me. Maybe I'll take him back to the gym and we can film another Aggie 3 a.m. gym video. But evidently, he said that he got charged for it. So I guess they were checking the security footage of us fucking around in there at 3 a.m. and they charged him for bringing me in. But if they look at the footage, I wasn't using the equipment. I was just filming him. So that seems like some complete bullshit. Seems a little unfair. And this new Patchy cut probably won't even be on his shitty little phone. Now that I have 3 proper video cameras, he can just use an actual camera. So it'll be a Patchy cut like you've never seen. I think last time his phone overheated while filming and like the footage just stopped because his phone got so hot it just committed suicide. We did have some Streamlabs donations come in that did not pop up on stream. No, it was just one. Okay, we didn't miss much. Froggo said, I'm writing an essay. Why are you streaming? I need to focus. Thank you, Froggo. But yeah, that is it for this time. So, you know, whether it's next week or next month or next year, tune in for the next Depression Chamber. Can't wait to see you all there. And I need to figure out how to end the stream without it cutting me off like it did last night. So I guess let's all sit here in silence for 10 seconds to make sure you don't miss a single word.